I'm going to go ahead and hit record. So the whole idea is, something funny. We're having fun. We're screwing up. We're making mistakes. No big deal. And then look, there's a promo. Blam. It's over. And just so you know, I never edit.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Don't give out any secrets.
Credit card information.
Right. Don't say your social security number or anything like that. Okay. Okay. So we're going to do that promo. So if you have any more questions or you kind of get the gist.
I hopefully I got it. We'll see how it goes.
You got a great laugh. So we're already winning. So it works. Yeah. Have fun. That's the key here. Have fun and make a promo. So
I'm just stressed about the promo. I'm not stressed about the recording. I'm stressed about the promo. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to ruin the promo.
Can't do it. Can't be ruined. Can't do it. Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture. Okay. Anytime you're ready, go ahead and give it a shot. Okay.
Okay. I am Victoria Lezniansky, and I help introverted entrepreneurs overcome their fear of public speaking and transform into confident, compelling, and captivating speakers. And you guys can find me at www.brilliantspeakersacademy.com. And if you want to learn more about how to overcome fear of public speaking, then head over to www.byvictorial.com/4steps. And it's number 4 and steps together. And you can sign up for my free masterclass, and it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. You're going to learn so much about your self-sabotage and mistakes, about the steps you need to take to overcome your fear of public speaking, and I cannot wait to meet you there.
Well done. Yes, go for it.
And you guys are listening to Vroom Vroom Veer.
See? That was awesome. Perfect. And, there's plenty of screwing around in between. So, good job.
I think I was too serious. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going too serious. I was expecting you to cut me and something.
No.
And I was like, oh no,
what's going on? No, it was perfect. It's perfect. Let me hit stop. I'm going to make a new file and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Are you ready to thoughtfully steer away from your revved up, frenzied, and far too often scripted life? Then welcome to Vroom Vroom Veer with Jeff Smith, where he guides you down the road differently traveled by sharing unique experiences with guests who have managed to shift away from a life stuck on cruise control and veered their way into a more authentic and fulfilling one in all sorts of interesting and kind of remarkable ways. Get ready to Vroom Vroom Veer with your differently traveled road chauffeur, Jeff Smith.
Derek Stone, thank you so much for being on Vroom Vroom Veer, and welcome to the show. How's it going, man?
It's fantastic. Thank you for having me.
So you are welcome. So tell us a little bit about what you're most excited about in your business today.
So my business is a little weird. It's a niche in the construction industry that's really kind of hated upon and frowned upon. But here in Nashville, we've been able to, I guess you'd say, scale it. So it's called punch work. So anytime you buy a house, we go through and you tell the realtor or the sales agent that you want this, this, and this fixed, and they make a list, and then they hand it to the contractor or the seller, and we go do that list. They hand that list to us, and we basically fix the stuff about 5 trades.
Oh,
so,
nice. Okay.
Yeah, so punch work is what we do. It's kind of our bread and butter. It's about 68% of our business. We are, however, pushing towards, we fell into screen enclosures back in 2011. And we started doing that, and we just now hired a marketing person, so we're super excited about pushing that product.
Nice.
So yeah, and if you've got yeah, no doubt, right? We're in the process of creating a villain for it. We're thinking about calling him Mosquito Joe or something, and him and his band of vampires. So coming up to get so that's kind of exciting marketing stuff, and
that's fun.
And then there's a new product that we just kind of came across called quick flashing, which is you seal exterior penetrations with it during the construction process. It's kind of a nerdy thing, but basically anytime they puncture a hole on the outside, it can cause a potential leak issue or a mold issue.
I had one of those.
Well, there you go. And they quick flashing created these cool panels that have a rubber gasket, and you basically shingle it into the house wrap and tape it off in a shingle pattern. And it seals the exterior penetration with a rubber seal, so it expands and contracts with the weather. So we're super excited about. We're the first turnkey quick flash installer in the world.
Wow!
Nice. So that's pretty exciting. That company's been around for 20 years, and so we're kind of on the really cool rise of that hitting some momentum. So that company really hasn't hit momentum until So we're hoping we're catching that before the trend. So nice. Yeah, that's kind of what's exciting me about what's going on, what we've got going on, man. It's exciting.
That's great. And your guys are still working, even though the whole thing is going on. That's right.
The corona no virus is the corona. We call it the corona no virus.
I like.
There's a comedian out there named Andrew somebody who says he has this corona no juice that he sprays on people. But
you gotta laugh or you cry.
I know, right? So, the coronavirus is going on, and we're construction, so we're essential.
That's nice.
It's kind of nice being in Nashville, man, to be able to drive somewhere without getting stuck in traffic.
Right.
I tell you, man, it's kind of nice, man. Be honest with you, but all things considered, there's no TP, there's no meat,
right?
There's no hand sanitizer, no gloves,
right? It's
so
weird, man. It's weird,
super weird, man. You think weird. It's an everyday essential, but man, they out everywhere. So
it's so weird now when you see toilet paper in the store. I think this is like a city thing. So if you're in the boonies, like my parents live in like 3 hours away from Milwaukee, right? In Upper Peninsula, Michigan. Yes, it is BFE. Correct. It's BFM.
Okay.
BF Michigan.
Okay. Hey, there's some beautiful parts of Michigan, man. I've been about 3 times, man. Kalamazoo, that area. Been up to Holland, that area, Saugatuck, that area.
Yeah, Michigan's
going
great.
Fishing up there, man.
Yeah. And I like being out in the woods. I don't like the fact that it's so far from the airport, but what are you gonna do?
For sure. Yeah, it is what it is, man.
But yeah, they have no problems getting toilet paper there. They've never run out of toilet paper. Here in Vegas,
I'm in Nashville.
Yeah, you're in Nashville. I'm in Vegas, but we're both running into this situation where the crazy people are just going out there and buying everything. It's like there are people lining up at like 6 o'clock in the morning to get toilet paper. It's nuts.
Right. And then the pallet comes, and then the first 20 people grab everything, and then there's nothing left for anybody else. So yeah, it's crazy.
My wife recently has stumbled upon the secret weapon in Vegas. So don't tell anybody, but I'll go ahead and tell. If you go to places that people don't usually think about to get toilet paper, you can get toilet paper.
Like CVS, gas stations.
Yes, CVS. That's where she got it.
That's hilarious because we haven't hit those small places. We kept going to the big places, but
they're cleaned out. Yeah,
it's funny. You're in Vegas. Craig from or Quick Flashing is in Vegas, and he sent me pictures of Vegas, how it's just like a ghost town right now, man. We were just in Vegas in January, and it is a ghost town, man. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's nuts. Yep. So, we have to, this is Vroom Vroom Beer. So that means we have to dig into this whole thing about you being a musician and then having a business where you're not really doing that primarily. So there's got to be a story there.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I love.
For sure.
Yeah. So where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Nashville or did you grow up somewhere else?
No, I grew up in Mobile, Alabama, and I on the Bay, Mobile Bay, place off called Dolphin Island Parkway. So it's Dolphin Island Parkway, and grew up on the Parkway. And then going into 11th grade, my mom met a guy and moved us 4.5 hours north to a small town outside of Tupelo, Mississippi, called Baldwin, Mississippi, and I lived there for 10 years before we moved to Nashville.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So all around the South.
All around the South, man. All around. That's it.
You're kind of like let's see here. I spent some time in Panama City, Florida, at Tyndall Air Force Base. That's the closest that I got to the Gulf Coast. I was on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, I had family on Keesler Air Force Base in
nice.
Biloxi. Yeah.
I did about 6 or 7 weeks in Air Force Tech School at Keesler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
In
Okay,
Biloxi.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, awesome.
what is that other, there's a funny sounding, there's another city around there that always makes me laugh. I can't remember.
Picayune?
Picky. No, that's not it.
Picayune, there's Waveland, there's Biloxi, Gulfport, Ocean Springs, Pascagoula.
Pascagoula was
Moss
funny.
Point.
Wait a minute. Have you ever heard of a place called Weehawken?
No. I've heard of Wetumpka.
Wetumpka. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's in Alabama. But
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that area. That whole, like, there's just so many things to do. Like when
it's
we
my
were in
roots,
Panama
man.
City, we went to Atlanta quite a bit because you're only 4 hours from Atlanta. We went to New Orleans a lot. Like,
yeah, for sure.
because that's just I would never want to go there for Mardi Gras, but like any other given weekend was a great party.
Yeah, Mardi Gras. Speaking of Mardi Gras, it originated in Mobile, and man, their Mardi Gras is a lot more contained. It is a party, but it's not like a crazy party. I mean, it is a party, but
Right.
it's a little bit more family oriented than New Orleans is.
Right.
Of course, I've never been to New Orleans, so I can't really say.
Right. I've
during
never
Mardi Gras,
been.
but
It's fun on a regular old any given Friday night on Bourbon Street is a blast.
right. Yeah, for
And
sure.
the food is amazing.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So okay. So you grow up, and all right. And so when did you start playing music?
I actually lived with my dad in Fort Worth, Texas for 1 year. And at the end of that year, my mom and my stepdad had tried to get me guitar lessons before that. And I just wasn't, they were trying to give me songs like Achy Breaky Heart and all this. And I just wasn't having it. So I never practiced and anything like that. So yeah. So then I went to, I lived with my dad for a year. And that year that I lived with my dad, at the end of the school year in 8th grade, they had a talent show. Of course, I never heard anything about the talent show. Could I enter anything? Of course, I didn't have anything to enter and be talented about at that point. But there was these two bands, man, and one played "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana, and the other one played "Zero" by the Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay.
And I was like,
grunge,
addicted. Oh my gosh, the crowd went absolute berserk, and I think that's what really I wanted. I said, I want to make a crowd go berserk like that. Man.
It's amazing,
like, dude.
Yes,
it's absolutely amazing. So
Right.
I pulled that little old guitar that my mom had, and it was my great grandfather's guitar. I pulled that little old thing out, man. And I started finding books online, like little guitar sheets online, and trying to.
Because now you had a little want to.
Man, I had some drive, man. I said, forget this. I'm gonna learn how to do that. I want that reaction, man. I want to make people feel that good,
Yeah, I get it.
And so, for sure. So I started playing that 8th grade year. Then we moved back to Mobile with my mom, and that 9th grade year. And a buddy of mine had been picking up guitar too that summer, and for
amazing.
Christmas we got guitars. We both got guitars for Christmas, and we started playing. And we played at the talent show. We entered, got accepted, and I'm telling you, man, I was so excited and terrified all at the same time. I'd never played in front of anybody. I mean, it was crazy, and it was just absolute berserk. Well, we got to the talent show that we had been saying, oh yeah, we're playing at the talent show, and everybody was like, dude, how long have you been playing guitar? I was like, 9 months, and they were like, dude, y'all don't need, no, dude, you can't do that, man. Don't forget. Can I save you some embarrassment, bro?
They're
Please don't get up there and do it.
Yeah.
Oh man, they were just lighting us up, man. And we were both just like, to heck with that, man. We were just like, if we're ever going to do this, we got to freaking start somewhere,
Sure.
And so me and my buddy Joe, man, we'd get on the guitars, and we'd go after school, man. It was practice, go to sleep, get up, go to school, come home, practice. I mean, we did that. We probably played that song a couple million times.
Okay.
But it was Everlong by the Foo Fighters, man. So jamming song.
Good song.
And so it was a guitar version, 2 lead guitar versions. So it was two electric guitars, no drums.
So you're playing the melody with the guitar, basically.
Yeah. So I'm playing lead, he's playing rhythm. And well, the funny story about it, man, this is kind of hilarious. So there was 2 girls. Well, first of all, when we did sound check, we rolled up there. We were totally new, bro. We rolled up there with some little 8-inch speakers in our amps, little Bobo crate amps.
Yeah.
And so we get up there with our little Bobo crate amps and jump up there, and we're like, yeah, this is not going to work. And so these other 2 guys that were playing in a band, I'll never forget, a guy named Jameson, a guy named Dean. Dean says, oh, dude, no problem. Y'all can use our amps, man. We were like, sweet. So they mic'd up their amps. They knew what they were doing a little bit. They were seniors. We were freshmen.
Right.
And so Dean looks right at me. He goes, dude, he goes, that amp has a short in it. If that amp cuts out, just reach over and give it a kick. It'll cut back on. I promise. I was like, okay, fine. So
That's very rock and roll. So
dude. Oh, bro, it played out just like that, bro. Not even joking. So we're sitting there. We do the sound check, and everybody's kind of like, oh yeah, cool. So they had no monitors, so you couldn't hear yourself.
Right.
On stage. It was terrible. So, we get out there and they're out there in the crowd, the Jameson and Dean, and, the couple of other guys are out there and like, oh yeah, it sounds good, man. It sounds good. Which I'm sitting here thinking, wink, wink. Yeah, right. So we get into their talent show starts. The school, all 850 of this 5A BC Rain High School, a lot, all these students are in the gym, dude, like all of them. And so my sister was a senior at this point. And she's embarrassed
for you. She's like, oh my God.
Well, I guess. Well, everybody knew who she was. And then my brother was a couple years before her. So everybody knew who he was.
All right.
And so we were freshmen. And so, dude, so this crazy thing happened because these two girls sang these two really inspirational songs, and everything. And they were slow. And all of a sudden, then we get up there, man. As soon as up to the day, the moment we were fixing on get on stage, everybody was telling us, like, there was a couple people backstage, dude, don't do it, man. Pull out. I'm just like, I got to do it, man. I'm just going to go with my gut and do it. I was scared to death, man.
Right.
I started getting cotton mouth.
Were you buying into any of this? Did you? Or were you just
no. I was just like
bullshit confidence.
I was like, screw them, dude. Like, freaking, I'm going to go do this thing.
Okay, good.
I know, dude.
That's
so
awesome.
We get up there, and as soon as I passed the curtain, and I had a guitar in my hand.
Yeah.
The place went berserk. Like, because they saw who I was and they saw that I had a guitar in my hand. And it was just like, and I'm going to be honest, like, too, man, it was like 95%. It's 95% African-American school.
Okay.
So it was just like, I was blown away at the response. All of a sudden, and then I hit a good old power chord, man. Just, whoa, and
right.
It got even louder. I couldn't even hear myself think, man. And so, and on that song, the beginning, it starts out a little lower, guitar wise, and then it gets into the chorus crazy. Well, as soon as I hit, there's an octave slide. If you're a musician, you know what that is. There's an octave slide in that part going to the chorus and the little pre-chorus part. Well, right at the end of that octave slide where you hit the first chord for the chorus, that guitar amp cut out.
Uh-huh.
And I reach over and I kicked it. And then hit the guitar chord into the chorus and just belted because I couldn't hear nothing. I just belted that chorus. If anything could ever feel this real, and it went crazy. The freshman students broke the bleachers. The freshman kids broke the bleachers. I was like, dude, 3 people just fell off because the board broke because they were jumping on it. It was crazy. So you know what I'm saying? I'm just going through it, and
yeah, you literally blew the doors off that gym.
Absolutely. You couldn't hear nothing. And so much to say that I actually repeated the first verse again for the second verse.
Whatever, dude.
So it was just like, they can't hear me anyway. And then I got to that chorus again. And they could ever feel it. Just hollering,
That's awesome. Are you singing too, or you're not singing?
Oh yeah, I'm singing, playing lead guitar.
Streaming. Okay.
Yeah, just jamming it. So,
but no drums,
stage, no drums, no bass, guitar, just straight up guitars. Yeah, it was
lead guitar and a little bit of, so your rhythm guitar guy is basically just giving you the. He's basically the drummer and the bass player.
Absolutely.
Sort of.
Absolutely. So he's rocking it too with me, and we're feeding off each other and that kind of thing. We get off the stage and people catch us in the hallway. You guys, that was freaking sick. Yeah. And I guess it was just a moment of me like kicking that amp, like right when it cut off and noticing it and like kicking it and then going right into the chord. He had perfect timing. It was so freaking epic.
Is there a video?
That's the day that my addiction began.
Yes. I had that day. So I had a similar experience. I won't get into the whole story because, it's about you, right? But like I had a successful talent show when I was at my first Air Force base, right? Okay. They have Air Force base talent shows, right? And I did really well as the MC, right? Mm-hmm. Telling jokes in between acts, basically, and introducing acts. And very well received, right?
Yeah.
That high. Oh my God.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
There is no more addictive feeling or brain state, I don't think.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I chased it for 14 years after that.
I know, it's crazy. That basically what I thought was the thought that I had that night, because it took me probably like well into the night to sort of come down off of the high. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. I was on cloud nine for 8 hours.
Yeah,
I couldn't even go to
exactly.
sleep that night.
Right.
You know?
You can't sleep. You can't. It's just like it's like there's like electricity flowing through your body or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, this is dangerous.
Absolutely.
That's a dangerous feeling right there. Because then you know what people that do it, why they're doing it.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of shit that you have to go through to get that hit.
Man, you're not lying, dude. You are not lying, man.
It's way more work than being a crack addict, I would imagine. I've never been, but you know what I'm talking about though, right? You got to go through some shit to get that hit.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So yes. Okay. I get it. Now I know why you start out I'm a musician and then I do these things.
For sure.
Great story. Okay. So, do you still play?
Maybe once every 6 months I might pick that thing up, man.
Okay.
I still have the guitar that I got for Christmas that year. My wife won't let me get rid of it. It's sentimental. I've had it for almost 20 years now.
Right.
And so, she won't let me get it. Usually she's in there doing a ton of paperwork for all this whole coronavirus thing. Or my background has my Les Paul, my blue guitar in the background. So, but anywho, so I moved into the dining room today. So, nice. But yeah, I still pick it up around every 6 months or so. It was super therapy for me, man. I went through a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have went through. Well, people go through stuff when they're kids. They just, we don't know. And so, I used it as therapy for real.
Oh yeah. No, I get it.
And 100% of that. And that's what happened when I stopped performing. It was I had my 8-year-old son in the crowd, and there was about 5,000 people. It was actually here in Clarksville, Tennessee, about an hour and 20 minutes north of here. And it was at a festival, and it was actually at a Battle of the Bands.
Oh, nice.
And man, that last song, I kind of got a vibe of that. That why I got into it was that feeling that just in this last song, we have this cool part in the bridge where it was like, whoa, and you have the whole crowd like singing back to you.
Right.
And so the band breaks down everything and you're just singing that, whoa, that it's a big anthem. It's like, sing it with me, and everybody's singing it. And for my 8-year-old son to be there, man, my youngest son has never seen me perform. He's 7, fixing to be 7 in a couple of days. And he's never seen me perform, but he's heard my music. He's seen my videos. So he kind of gets, Dad was, kind of a little small rock star, And so, so that's kind of cool, but it was so rewarding for me because it was like, I'm at least going to get to go out the way that I wanted to go out with it.
Right.
Big crowd, big concert, big sound system, big stage, and loving it. And so, but I kind of got, after that, I kind of got depressed because it was like something in construction started taking off for me, and it was providing way better for my family than music ever did.
Of course.
And so, absolutely. And so I just kind of got depressed when I finally made the decision to stop performing in 2014.
Right.
And the depression really was that, it wasn't that I was, not performing anymore. It was the fact that I felt like I had this really good message with why I was performing, which was a forgiveness message. And then,
nice. Okay.
And what I had
kind of thought you were letting go of your dream I get that.
Right. And I was letting go of the dream.
Right.
It wasn't so much. It wasn't
like
so much.
You're grieving the loss of the dream.
Yeah. I was grieving the loss of that. I felt like I had this great, powerful story, but I lost the platform to tell it.
I get that.
So then I started thinking, well, man, maybe you just need to write this in a book. And that's where the book, Why Should I Forgive, came from. So
we should talk about that because I love that title.
Yeah. Thank you. And
I want to know the answer, but tell me this, I don't know. Don't just give me the answer because that's boring.
Right. For sure. Sure.
Give me the story about where the message came from. So, because I think the more interesting thing is sort of the superhero origin story of the germ that you wanted to express in the book.
Right. So that was so if I can be vulnerable for a minute.
You can, please.
And so growing up, my parents got divorced when I was 5. We went and saw my dad every other weekend, that kind of thing. My mom got remarried. She didn't know this dude. But anyway, this guy ended up sexually abusing me and my brothers.
That's
I hope
tough.
they don't mind me saying that. I hope
No,
they don't mind me saying that. I've never asked their permission. Guys, sorry, I said it. Anyway,
If you need to edit, we can.
yeah, so from 8 to around 12, that was happening, and so and the reason we never said anything to anybody was the fact that he said if you tell anybody, they're gonna take you away from your mom,
Okay.
and which is total manipulation, BS.
Right.
Total.
Something
so anyway,
that kids believe, right? Yeah.
Right. So you just want your mom, and it's your mom,
of course.
So anyway, so we fast forward, a couple of years. Mom's got divorced from that dude. We've moved to Mississippi, and I'm a bitter kid, man. I'm just a bitter dude. I before we left Mobile, man, I got sexually involved with a girl that was 3 years older than me. Got on every drug I could get on. Drank as much alcohol as I can get my hands on, and I'm in 10th grade.
Right.
know. So and so
you're trying to cover up some pain.
Absolutely. Living a facade, man, trying to keep that facade going.
Right.
Everything's good on the surface. You know what I'm saying? Just I'm a party waiting for a place to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I mean, for real. And so I went to, when we got to this in Mississippi, I realized that this was kind of a new start. And this voice, if you will, kind of came to me and said, hey, this is a new start for you. You're not going to screw it up. And,
nice.
And so I stopped drinking and smoking, and I wasn't smoking, but drinking and cussing in a couple of days, and went to school. And I met this dude, and this dude was like, hey, man, and this is kind of crazy, but he's like, hey, man, do you know you love Jesus? I was like, yeah, dude. He's like, all right, cool. Took me to a football game. And then that night he went to a small group deal the next night. And I just kind of realized this is where I needed to be. Okay. And opened up my arms and said, God mold me in the man you want me to be. Well, if you fast forward a year later, we went to this conference, and in this conference, they said, some of you need to forgive a parent, a sibling, an aunt, or an uncle. And I almost walked out. And then that same voice came to me that told me to stop doing what I was doing. That same voice came to me and said, it's only happened audibly 3 times in my life. One was the time when it said, this is a new start. The second time was right now in this situation I'm fixing to tell you about. And the third time was when I was introduced to my wife. He said, that's the girl you're going to marry.
Nice.
I've only heard that voice 3 times in my life.
Good voice. I like this voice.
So, and it's been great. So when I was fixing to walk out, all of a sudden this voice came to me and says, Derek, I want to use you, but I can't because you have all this bitterness towards your dad, and I need you to forgive him. And man, I clenched my fist up. My heart started to elevate. And all those memories of all those things I had blamed him for just not being there. I felt like it was his job as a father to kind of protect us from all that stuff. And he just wasn't there, and it is what it is. So I had, I turned around and I asked that question, why should I forgive him? It was because he didn't pay child support. We were walking through the hallway with a candle and taking cold showers because the electricity got cut off. We didn't know where the next meal was coming from, those kinds of things. And the abuse was happening and him not knowing about it, that kind of thing. Which totally isn't his fault at this point. He just didn't know, he wasn't there. He was only there every other weekend. So just kind of looking at that and just being angry. And then after I asked the question, why should I forgive, which comes from a place of discontent and anger, he that voice came back to me and says, because I'm the father to the fatherless. And man, it hit me right in the heart. I was like, man, I want to know what that was like so bad for somebody to tell me that I had what it took and that I was enough. That I said, you know what, if you'll give me that, I'll give you this. And so I did, man, about 2 hours on my knees crying, being broken and that kind of thing. Move forward to that. And man, when I got up, I no longer felt that need to live behind that facade. And I no longer felt the need to carry that burden around that I've been carrying all those years. I felt light, like I just unloaded the world. Like that pain off my back. Gone. Oh, it was remarkable, man. And so fast forward, I'm gonna jump you up to 2010.
Okay.
My business is 3 years successful. We're thriving. I'm fixing to stop performing. I don't know that yet, but we went back to my mom's house, and by this point, my dad had called us. He called me in the middle of the deer woods. It's deer season, and deer are everywhere, but in the sight of my scope. So, right. So, I'm in the woods, and he calls me up and he says, "Hey, Derek, you got a second to talk?" Because he never calls unless it was like our birthday or somebody was in the hospital on his side of the family.
Okay.
And so I answer the phone, and he's like, "Hey, Derek, how's it going? You doing okay?" And I was like very enthusiastic. I was like, "Well, this is a different call." And I said, "Yeah, Dad, I'm doing fine." And he goes, "Look, can I talk to you for a second?" He said, "Yeah, sure." And he said, "Look, I don't want to be known as somebody who walked out on their kids. And I just don't want to be known. And I want to apologize for the way I've treated you guys for the past 10 years. And I want to be involved in your life and in my grandkids' life." And he asked, "Will you forgive me?"
Wow.
And
wow.
I was, man, well, see, I had been praying after I got up off the floor. I'd been praying. That's my new prayer was like, God, you restore a relationship. And
Really?
6 years of praying that this random call happened. And
it would
I
be fun to
smiled.
get him on the phone. And
well, I know, right?
I would like to hear the story about how he got there. Because that would be
I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
You don't know
right?
either.
I don't know. Yeah, I've never asked him that. That's a great question. I've never asked him.
You need to ask.
And maybe
that
that's
question.
a great conversation
That's
I'll have with him next time.
Yeah.
Because
then you can marry it with your story too.
Absolutely. And so he did that, and I told him, I said, "Dad, I forgave you a long time ago, but I've been praying for this day for a hot minute, and said, absolutely, I'll forgive you, that kind of thing." And so our relationship began. It kind of restarted. And my oldest son was 11 months at the time, wasn't walking yet. And we went out and seen it. Man, we've had great adventures since, man. We went hunting together. We went to waterfalls. I mean, it's crazy. We've had a good time. So,
wow, very nice.
So in 2011, which was that following Christmas, my dad had came down, and we were all at my mom's house, and I walked into my mom's front door. Mom met me at the front door and pulled me into the room. She goes, evidently the siblings were all talking, and they were upset, and they're crying and this and that and the other. And she said, they think he's here just to see you, and they want to know why you're so different. And I looked at her and I said, "Mom," I said, "the difference between me and them is that I chose to forgive and they haven't." And she looked at me like she had just found buried treasure, and then said, "You're right." Gave me a hug, and then let me walk back in there with them. And so it was just kind of interesting on the way home. I know this is a long story. I'm sorry.
No,
but on the way home,
it's perfect.
I love it. On the way home, I started to see all this crazy stuff happening. So like when I was growing up in Mobile, there was this really cool place I had. If anybody's from DIP in Mobile, where Nancy's restaurant was. There's a little on Bayfront Road. There's this little hole in the wall beach, and we found it. We'd walk out there and we'd just sit there on the beach. And man, sometimes I'd laugh and I'd cry and I'd cut up and I'd sit out there and watch the oil tankers go through and the cargo ships and the seagulls and the waves crash and all that. And I would just, it was my place of rescue where I didn't have to live behind the facade that I was living.
Right. Nice.
I could be me. And man, I prayed prayer after prayer out there, man. A lot, just let me grow up and be a dad and be a husband and have some cool cars and have a cool house. I want to do it different. And so, in 2010, on the way back to Nashville from Mississippi in the car, I started to remember that place, and at that point in time in 2010, every prayer that I ever prayed on that beach had came true.
Wow.
The wife, the kids, the car, the houses, not that everything's extravagant. It was just a nice house. I'm gonna be honest. It's $100,000 house, but it was brand spanking new,
Yeah. Oh.
And it's 1,250 square feet. I'm not talking about, the Bel Air mansion.
We're not saying fancy. We're just saying
I'm just saying it's a brand new house.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It was a newer car, 2 newer cars, that we had, and 2 healthy boys and a healthy wife and a loving wife. And man, I was so grateful. And then when my business did over $1 million in revenue, I kept looking back to see what it was that triggered. And all those roads kept pointing back to the choice that I made to forgive my dad.
There you go.
That's
a good message. I'm glad you wrote the book.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So
it's a good message.
What I do in the book really is the next question most people ask is, why should I forgive? Is they ask, but how can I? It's always the but, because they don't really want to do it. Right. We want to live in that anger and bitterness and resentment, and that just causes your own torment. And that was the reason why I say that, but how can I? And that's what I want to walk people through in the book is this is how you do it, and so that's really kind of the gist about the book. But yeah, I mean, that's it in a nutshell of how I got to where I am. And In the construction world, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, and in a nutshell, as far as the book goes, that's kind of where all that started musician wise, and where it ended, and how all that kind of came together.
Well, forgiveness for me, usually when I hear that question, right? Your story is a little bit different, but I'm going to throw some stuff at you and just try to get your take on some of these ideas. So when I think about people that I need to forgive for me, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Like, and I think you've gotten there. I'm just trying to make sure.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of times people that you want to forgive, you don't, because you don't think they deserve it.
Absolutely.
Right. They don't, they're not really worthy of my forgiveness. Right.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, they were actually wrong. Right.
For sure.
Right. You talk about like an abuser. You're not, if you choose to, we can talk about this or not if you want to.
Sure.
But like, if you were to say, like, think about, does my abuser deserve my forgiveness? And the answer to that logically is no. Right?
Absolutely.
Because they don't deserve it. But now take a step back again and say, do they give a shit about me now? Probably not.
Not right.
Right. And I'm holding something that if I let it go, even if they don't deserve my forgiveness, if I just say, hey, look, I don't know what they had going on then. They had their stuff, but I'm going to forgive them for me.
Right.
That makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting when you forgive people, know that you're not justifying what they did to you.
Right. Right.
You know, you're not
giving them a pass.
You're not giving them a pass.
You're not saying it's okay.
Right. What you're doing is you're allowing yourself to move on emotionally to a better place.
Right.
And forgiveness is for you. Trust is for them.
Right.
You know, if somebody screws you in business, you know, you can forgive them, but you're never going to trust them in your business again.
Right.
No.
It's a different thing.
It's total. Yeah. And so I think that, and when we hold our business or our forgiveness, sorry, not our business, when we hold our forgiveness as a gift to bestow upon people, that's where it's not right. Forgiveness has to be given away free.
Right.
Right. It has to be given away freely and it's not a gift you bestow upon somebody that's worthy, because the truth of the matter is none of us are worthy.
Right.
Truth of it.
Right. That's true.
You know, and so,
right.
But at the end of the day, you have to hold above all the vision for your life. Who do I want to be? You know, who do I want to be? And what do I got to do to get there? And if this forgiveness thing is going to really unlock that key, I use this example. As I was running one day and I got this vision in my head, and it was kind of like, okay, so imagine yourself in a prison cell and you're in dingy clothes and it's dingy lit and it's like something off of Pole Dark or something, you know? And so you're dark, you know, it's dark and it's old and it's French, old place, you know, whatever, castle, whatever. So it's dingy and everything. And you're sitting in this cell and you're, you know, ratty clothes and you're just like, man. And then all of a sudden this character starts walking towards you and they're dressed really nice. And like the light is following them as they go. And it's like crazy. And then they reach through the thing, through the prison cell door, and they hand you this key. And on the key it says forgiveness. And then you look up and it illuminates their face and it's you. Right. And they hand you the key and the key says forgiveness. And then when he says, when you see that it's you looking back at you, the keyhole illuminates and you put the key in, you turn. The problem is, and the other thing is that all these people that have hurt you start appearing in the background, kind of translucently. They appear in the background. Right. And the moment you turn the key, so you yourself hold the key to your prison cell, to the door, to be let go. Right. Oh yeah. So, I mean, this may be super spiritual on people, but like when you talk about, when you look at Jesus, when he said, how do I pray? He says, you know, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, the kingdom come, will be done. In that he says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So many people miss that as we part. Right. That as we part. And we get delivered over to kind of a torment. And it's a lot of it. It's our own mental health. You skipped over that. Yeah. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's our own mental health. You're doing it for you. Right. Right. And that's the thing, is like, you guys don't realize that the key to forgiveness is choice. Right. So much of it is a choice. How can I? Well, you have to choose to do it. Do you feel like you've forgiven that person every day? Absolutely not. Right. But guess what? You made a choice, and eventually it gets easier every day. Oh, I know I've forgiven that person. When someone and their name comes up, oh, No, I've walked on. I forgive it. There's no more anger. There's no bitterness there because every day you repeatedly tell yourself, no, I've forgiven that person. I've forgiven that person.
Right.
I had a guy screw me out of $12,000 in business. And the day that I was going to fly to where he was at to do the marketing for him. And that day before, he says, before you book your flight, I'm turning in my notice. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I was furious. Like I couldn't even talk to him on the phone because I was afraid of what I was going to say. I was absolutely just so angry. Wow. And I knew, man, if I went to bed that angry, I was going to regret it. So I did all night. I said, I forgive this guy. I forgive this guy. I didn't want to forgive that dude.
No.
But I mean, I was angry. Yeah. I mean, it's like, so you're just like, you just want to stab him in the face or something. It's gruesome.
It's a process.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but when I went to bed, I knew I had to make a choice. I said, I choose to forgive him. I choose to forgive him. The next day, did I feel any better? No. But I repeatedly told myself, I choose to forgive him. I choose to forgive him. Day 3, guess what? I'm not feeling it so much. Right. Day 4, guess what? It's that feeling's going away.
Right.
Day 5, I'm almost like, oh, yeah,
I've learned how to do this.
Yeah, it's a muscle. It's like the weights aren't going to pick themselves up.
You have to practice that whole. It's not just you're not going to be like all of a sudden like hear angels and like be immune.
Yeah,
right. You're not going to be immune to the process, but you have to process those. Because I was under
that's key.
I was under this illusion too of. Oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. No. That's almost as bad as not forgiving, just not processing it and just saying, oh, I don't care. And it doesn't matter. You're not processing it. Then you're just saying, okay, it doesn't matter. What I feel doesn't matter. No. You actually have to go through the process of feeling like you want to kill the person. It's vital, right?
What it is, and this is what I kind of identify in the book, is that it's in order for true forgiveness to happen, something has to die, right? So when nice. in my mind and in my I guess you'd say theology or whatnot, when God looks at me, he sees Jesus on the cross, right? So when you look down at that, so like when I'm forgiven, it's because Jesus paid a price. He died so that I could be forgiven, right? So when you look at other people and you apply that to forgiveness, it's the same thing. You have to mourn the thought of the relationship where it was going, right? Right. You have to. So man, that guy was going to be a really good friend of mine, man. But man, I have to mourn that, and sometimes it hurts. It does. Right. I'm not going to lie, it hurts. So like your innocence was stolen from you. It hurts. I get it. It shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have happened. But you have to mourn that.
That's right. You have to process
and realize when you're processing that stuff, cry, man. Go out by yourself, go in the woods, man, and just
go to
whatever.
The beach, wherever you
go to the beach. Absolutely.
Do what you got to do. Men. Be alone in the car.
That's what I'm saying, man. Dude, scream, hit the steering wheel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, those emotions are real.
They are.
You know what I'm saying? They're real and they're tangible. And that's what, when you process those, and you have to mourn that, what you thought it was going to be. I'm mourning what I thought this relationship was going to be. And at the end of the day, you give yourself freedom to move on. Sometimes these people are still in your life. Mm-hmm. And you're like, look, I gotta mourn what I thought this relationship was going to be. It's not going to be what I thought it was going to be. And then I've got to set up boundaries for them to operate around my family.
I just went through something like this. Nothing major.
Sure.
But like, I don't even know, to tell you the truth, honestly, what I was feeling, but it was related to this whole coronavirus stuff. Because this stuff, this thing is real, right?
Right, absolutely.
There's this undeniability to this pandemic thing that's going on right now.
For sure.
That is bringing up all sorts of emotions. So I can't really put it, it's not even a forgiveness thing. It's more of a process emotion thing. Mm-hmm. But it all just seemed not so real. It's just on TV. I'm staying home. I'm teleworking. I'm trying to like not watch the news, right?
Right.
I'm just basically just trying to get through it like all of us, right?
Right.
And then last Friday, I had one of my podcast guests told me about another podcaster that lives here in Las Vegas that was sort of in the same community, right? And they asked me, "Oh, do you know Paula?" And I'm like, "Oh, I've heard of Paula. I know she's in Vegas. I need to reach out to her and get her on my show and yada, yada." And they go, "Oh, you don't know." I'm like, what? She tested positive. And I'm like, "Oh my God, really? Is she okay?" And they said, "Yes, she's okay. And you need to go and hang up with us and go listen to her podcast on top." And she spends like 30 minutes talking about what it means to have a mild symptoms case. Okay. And she talks about it for 30 minutes about what it was like for her to not go to the hospital and be COVID-19 positive. It was the sickest she's ever been in her life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just scared the shit out of me. That night, I could not sleep. I had that. Have you ever had that feeling in your chest where you just kind of want to cry, but it's not coming out?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's just scared to death.
I just went through that, and I don't even know what the hell I was grieving, but I just just decided, oh, that's right. This is now suddenly real.
Right. It's no longer on TV, but it says next door, you know.
This is like somebody I kind of almost know got sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, and that's what that's as we're leading in business, you know, I've got 25 people or so that work for me. And, and when every day we have a Monday morning, we have a conference call with everybody in our team. And I just I want to be that slow and steady leader, that confident, collected, nothing's freaking me out. You know, I may be freaking on the inside, but on the outside, I need to put up that front that, you know, when the waves start crashing, right, the co-captain, he goes and gets the real captain. Where's the real captain at, you know? Right. And this story comes from a buddy of mine. He's a fighter pilot, Lane Bean. He's an awesome dude. But he just says that, you know, people want to see the real captain. And when you freak out, that's contagious. Everybody else is going to freak out. Right. You got to keep your shit together sometimes. Right. So you're like, hey, guys, make sure you're putting a glove on when you get gas. You know, wear a mask if you're around people. Right. You know, that kind of thing. So, you know, just trying to be safe, you know, have safety in mind and letting them know, hey, you know, we've shut down our warranty department. So those guys are now in production. Excuse me. So it's just it's real. It's real. You know, those emotions for people are real. Yep. People are scared. And fear comes from not knowing. Right. You know, when you don't know something, you know, that's when you're like, because it's so uncertain, right? You know, everything, oh my gosh, you know, everything's just so uncertain. And so that's fear comes from a place of just not knowing. There's also like, I've been feeling guilty a little bit. And guilty because a lot of me likes part of what's going on. I really like teleworking and not having to commute. That makes me feel guilty. Right. I see. I really like not having to take my wife to the casino twice a week when I'm really tired after work. That makes me feel guilty, you know? So I think if you can come up with an emotion, we're going through it in spades right now. So So anyway, for sure. Yep. I think we'll pull through. I think one of the things was, that we all had to go through was, are we going to make it through, or is the world going to be gone? And I think we're going to make it. Right. I think we're going to make it, man. I think we're going to make it. Yeah. Yeah. So now it's more like when. It's not an if, it's more of like a when, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's antsy. We're all stir crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I know here in Nashville, I know they were talking about, they were thinking it was going to be like in Davidson County, which we're in Rutherford County, but they were talking about how they were predicting that like 640 something people were going to die. And right now that number by now, I mean, it should have been way more than that, but it's right now it's only at 200. Oh, that's not so bad. Now they're thinking, I mean, yeah, it sucks that people have lost their lives. Right. But they think they're over the hump on this. And so they think that the next 3 weeks of being home or next 2 weeks of being at home for people is going to kind of really increase the chances. And the hydrochloroquine, however you say that word, that long word, that stuff's working. Good. For the most part. You know, so, you know, there's some hope out there, man. There is. There's all kinds of hope. So I think we're going to make it. So as we wrap up, tell people how they can best get in touch with Derek Stone, how to find the book, how to find your website, and how to find your business. Yeah. So you can go to derekstone.online. Again, that's DEREKSTONE.online. You can see on my Facebook. I have a Facebook and Instagram link if you want to reach out, hang out, talk, have a conversation. I love that. If there's the pre-order book is on there, so you can hit the line at the top. There's a home page and a book pre-order page.
Perfect.
So you can click that link, and then down at the bottom, underneath the picture, it has the link, the Amazon link to pre-order. I would muchly appreciate that, and just spread the word. I mean, this is something that I feel. This is my third or fourth podcast about the book. I've had a couple before about my business, but this one in particular, I've realized that there's such a need for this out there. Yeah. And I just really want to, my passion in life is to empower people to change their own situation.
No, you're right. I mean,
and so
that really does open up a lot of doors. That whole, like, learning how to forgive, I think is,
You'll be amazed at how your life will start changing and stop happening to you, but for you. Right. Changing your mindset and getting a vision for your life of where you want to go, who do you want to be, and then using that as a filter to make all your decisions. Like, is this going to help me get my goal, or is this not going to help me get my goal? Right. And so DerekStone.online, the Facebook, like I said, Instagram, you can go check that out. If you want to check out stonesrepairandremodel.com, you can go check that out too. That's our construction company. We really advertise to builders and construction. Track Home Builders is kind of our bread and butter for that. But if you're a track home builder, you're a costing manager, give me a call. Perfect.
Derek Stone, this has been a blast. Thanks for being so open and sharing your story. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for having me, man.
Have a good one.
Yep. You too, man.
Later.
Thanks for taking the time to ride along with us on another episode of Vroom Vroom Veer. For podcast info and show notes, be sure to head over to vvveer.com. That's VVER.com. Man, that's fun to say. And we'll catch up with you next time here on Vroom Vroom Veer.